Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life, and of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow and our special guest today, John Whitsell, who is a media producer, a Taiko drummer, and owner of Bocce Studios in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Welcome, John.
Hi, Sandra.
So, we're here to talk about our happiness stories.
That's right.
That's right. And so I'm going to start with the first question that I think you are going to really love, and that is happiness a choice?
Well, I think sometimes it's a choice. If you're just sitting at the couch and the dog does something funny, you don't have a choice. It makes you happy. But you can bring some happiness on. Mm-hmm. You can go to something that you like instead of something that you don't like. You know, like maybe you don't want to go to the heavy metal concert, but maybe you want to see the folk singer, So you can steer your way towards happiness. It's not always a choice. You go through life and things pop up in your path that make you happy. And it's an involuntary reflex.
So could you give us an example of some things that pop up in your path?
Well, like I said, the dog.
Yes. What's that dog's name?
That dog's name is Maverick. Uh-huh. He's a Labrador Plus.
Woo!
So he gives us lots of enjoyment, and it makes us happy. And happiness is so much tied in with joy and love.
Yes.
Kind of like in the rainbow spectrum. It's not necessarily polar opposites, but you've got ultraviolet and reds and blues and yellows, and happiness fits in there around the joy and around the love.
Wow. I love the concept that you just came up with, which is pop-up happiness. I love it. We're going to have to do something on pop-up happiness, right? So you said the dog.
The dog brings me happiness. And also, love. Mm-hmm. People you love make you happy.
Is it just people?
No. There's I think it's a special depth to love of someone. Mm-hmm. There's a richness and a depth to that. And those ones you love don't always make you happy. But
really? Now, wait a minute.
But there's a great depth to that, and the joy and the happiness can come from that often. Join Sandra M. for a live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, and an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Together, we celebrate with love songs and vivid and funny stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra M. always includes amazing local musicians, storytellers, and singers. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, call 505-310-8010 or email her Sandra@sandramcknight.com.
Celebrate happiness with Sandra M. So people have told me in the past, happiness is momentary, but joy is sustaining And I always think of them as being more or less equal because to me, happiness is a lifestyle. I wake up and I, as I've said to many other people, smile at the world. I've trained myself to open my eyes and go,
Right.
smile, you're on candid camera, right?
We're on candid microphone today.
Yes,
But,
yes. Remember
well,
that show? Remember that
I do,
show? Yeah.
I do. And it has just been rebooted. I know. I can't remember her name, but there's a reboot of Candid Camera.
Oh.
And that is in the works. But speaking of the works and the words, there's a thing in radio, and I've had a few radio shows in my time, that if you smile when you're at the microphone, it actually comes through.
Yes.
And so there's a physical thing that you can do, just smiling, and it's more work to frown than it is to smile.
I love that. More work to frown.
It is.
And yet most people wouldn't think that.
It's,
Yes.
Well, one of the times when I'm not very happy is when my bank account goes down. I'm just not very happy. But then when it gets restored, it's like I'm in pretty good shape.
Yes.
I'm in good, so those, like your other guest, Yeva, was saying, the insecurities in life in today's modern American go-go world, it has a bearing on your happiness because of the stresses of life, the stresses of food and financial and shelter insecurities. Those can affect you. But putting on that happy smile can help get you through. And as many of your guests have said, just walking through life and smiling at people, it's amazing. And what you need to look for, I think, is how it affects you. Somebody smiles at you, someone you don't know, and we're changing the name to smiling instead of create happiness, celebrate happiness. I noticed somebody, we have our prejudice, we have our bias, we have our things, and then we make judgments as people walk through our life. And then someone turns around and smiles at you, and it's real brief and everything, but it's very affirming. And so to be aware and to acknowledge that and to see that reaction in yourself can be enriching.
Absolutely. You come up with so many little ways of expressing yourself in this go-go world, right? Now, when you talk about the go-go world, it's basically a competitive world, isn't it? Everybody's trying to be what? Succeed.
They're out to hustle for a buck and a dime.
Yes, right. And so they don't really have the value, which is my next question. Do you think that happiness could be a way of living all the time? In other words, instead of go,
yeah,
we
it's
say
part of
happy,
it.
happy.
It's part of it. It's I don't know if the happiness lifestyle. The life is so big and
Really?
Yeah, there are so many components. Happiness is definitely up there as a big thing. There's so much richness in our lives. Hopefully, it's rich with experience and love and gratitude and health and happiness. Sandra M. invites you and yours this October for an intimate 14-day Being in Love with Life happiness journey to Bhutan, the lost kingdom of happiness, nestled in the Himalayas just below the plateau of Tibet. Experience the magnificent beauty, magic, and mystery of this ancient culture, a country that holds a profound respect for nature and Mother Earth. The Bhutanese call this Drala, or spiritual ecology. Bhutan is a recognized leader in the Happiness Biodiversity Index for our planet, and it also calculates the gross national happiness of its people. Their idea being that material gain cannot come at the expense of their environment, culture, or the spiritual and mental well-being of their people. Happiness Bhutan Style is an adventure of a lifetime. For more details, contact Sonam Dorji at 805-320-6406 and view our itinerary at BhutanLostKingdomTours.com and click on Special Tour Packages.
Celebrate happiness with Sandra M. Well, let's just put it this way. If you were living in an environment or a society where the well-being of the whole is more important than the individual, which is a whole different way of looking at things, I don't think there'd be so much competitiveness. I think there'd be much more kindness, much more respect, much more interdependence and interaction, not only with other human beings, but with the earth itself, which I think is right now so important. I mean, we're all involved in the 2030 movement, right?
Right.
By 2030, we have got to get the gases down. We have to get, the plastic out of the oceans. What else?
Masrias.
What's that?
Ed Masrias, the Project 2030.
Yes.
I think you're referring to.
Yes.
The architectural standards that we can employ now, but holy moly, 2030 is coming up in 7 years.
Yes.
But the effects that we can make change about. But in the happiness realm, you mentioned the group ethos, the world ethos, and the personal ethos. I do believe the Western culture has a big emphasis on the individual system. Particularly in Japan, there's a focus on the group effort, and people relish being a good group person. Mm-hmm. You're not yielding anything in that, you're joining in an experience. Group dynamics are so important. I'm a Taiko player, speaking of Japanese culture and language. I know how to speak, I know how to count in Japanese.
Okay.
Up to 4.
Up to 4? Whoa. Would you like to show us?
Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roku, ich, hach.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But you were talking
those.
about the group ethos. And I think that's so important what you were saying, because if these people, as you had your experience in Japan, are looking at how much pleasure it brings them, how much joy, how much happiness, that the group succeeds, and does that also create a certain peacefulness? It's,
yes, it creates a peacefulness, but it's a bigger experience. You're involved in something larger than yourself.
Right.
And that can be satisfying, and you can get happiness from that. I often get happiness from a sense of accomplishment. It may be a big project, it may be a small project, but it's like I have finished a task and it went well. That makes me happy. If I finished a task and it didn't go so well, I'm not so happy. Next time around, maybe it will go better, and I will be back to the happiness quotient.
Or as they say, lessons learned. Right?
Lessons learned.
Lessons learned. We move forward.
We
right?
move forward.
We can't always be perfect at everything, but we get better.
Onward and upward.
Yes.
Forward, never straight. Here's today's key to happiness.
Get plenty of sleep. 7 or 8 hours every night is good for health, brain function, and emotional well-being. Your body has time to make the necessary adjustments for optimized functioning. Some tips for better sleep are:
write down the number of hours you sleep and how rested you feel to get a better idea of how you are doing.
Go to bed and wake up at the same time every night, including weekends.
Reserve the hour before bedtime as quiet time. Take a bath. Read. No heavy eating or drinking.
Keep your bedroom dark, cool, and quiet.
Invest in some good bedding.
And if you have to take a nap, limit it to 20 minutes. Thank you for tuning in to Celebrating Happiness with us. And before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, John Whitsell, for sharing his happiness story. Share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. Send an email to sandra@sandramcknight.com. Join us next time.
Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile lets your light come shining through. law sets everybody straight. Be bold, be beautiful, just be you.